the Nigerian Army. Until he was appointed the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Farouk Yahaya was the theater commander, Operation Hadim Kai, responsible for counter terrorism and counter-insurgency operations in northeast Nigeria. The new chief of army staff is a recipient of several honors and awards, some of which include Forces Service Star, Meritorious Service Star, Distinguished Service Star, Grand Service Star, Past Staff Corps Daga, National Defense Corps Chile, Economic Community of West African State Monitoring Group Medal, amongst many others. The guy
Well,
profile and CV rich.
well,
That's where we are this morning, and jubilation in Medugri. So I'm sure for the soldiers to be jubilating, he must have
Yes,
commanded a good relationship
well,
between him and the soldiers.
yeah, they said we are so happy that when he was there, he has been, especially their welfare, he has been very, very good to them. And another thing is that this is for maybe there's no controversy over the appointment of the new chief of army staff. And if it were before, you still find it some delay in announcing the name of chief of army staff. But this one, less than a week thereabout, the name has been mentioned. So it's a plus, because otherwise they'll say the Buhari government might take another 1 month looking for who's going to take over. But this all came in quick succession, and the man is there. Well, you have to wish him all the best as he's taking over, or as he has taken over the mantle to bring peace and to fight the Boko Haram out of this country, and wish him all the best.
Now, apart from the fact that he has been, until his appointment, he has been in charge of counter-insurgency and anti-terrorism, is there anything spectacular, even though his emergence became an emergency because of the death of Tahiru? So, but are we expecting any new strategy? Because, in my opinion, even though we have been very, I won't say political, but very, very careful about it, Boko Haram has gone beyond the northeast. We now have them in Niger State. We also have them filtering into
FCT.
banditry, into FCT through banditry. Because I remember there was a statement credited to the bandits the other time because of the university students, where they claimed that the negotiations failed because they now have Boko Haram members influencing their actions. So now that we have these branches of these negativities, what are we expecting differently from a man who has been in charge of the counter-terrorism, counter-insurgents and anti-terrorism? Will that experience count in any dimension?
Yeah, it will. I think before he was given this appointment, they will have profiled him and they will have seen his activities while he was still working in that line. And I believe that he has been there, and he believes that he has the honors to bring back peace into the country. And I also want to say that based on his antecedent and during the time of Brutai, he has been there, and I think with his wealth of experience, I think he will be able to bring not really change. He will also continue on the strategy they have been planning to end this insurgents in this country, and it's just for him to add a little bit of authority on his new office that is just had now, so that they can move on and work well.
You made mention of the testimony surrounding his professionalism and personality, how he has been fair to the soldiers in terms of guaranteeing their welfare packages. Now, we have seen a good number of soldiers resigning from their duty post in recent times. A lot of people felt it was out of cowardice, but most of them spoke out to say, no, we're not being taken care of, or we presume, or we assume, or we perceive conspiracy here and there. Now that they are celebrating because somebody they possibly trust better is in charge, do you think it will guarantee effectiveness in service delivery?
Is it when you have the loyalty of your subordinates, expect a good result? That is just the key word there. Because these people are not happy with him. I think there'll be more cooperation.
There will be motivation.
There's motivation, and they believe that yes, this is our man. We believe in him. Though others too are their officers too, but with this kind of news coming from his people that he's going to work with, he believes that he's going to get their cooperation, and I think we'll get a good news or a better working relationship with his people on the field.
A better relationship with his people on the field. Like you said, we wish him, Major General Farouk Yahaya, the best of time, the best of service delivery in efficiency. Now, one more thing is worrisome here. For a country where we have read, there have been insinuations that we have a lot of betrayals, sabotages, and cliques in the Nigerian army, even at a sensitive time like this. We'll be having nothing less than 20 or 25 generals who will be relieved because when you are a junior
officer
is appointed, even in the hierarchy of the police, that will be the end of the day for you. So now some names have been filtered out already that possibly the likes of Major General A.S. Maikobi, Major General D.C. Onyemelo, Major General H.I. Bature, Major General A. Bande, Major General S.A. Yaro, Major General L.A. Adeboye, and co. Now that we have these names, these are possible names that could be relieved because of this new appointment.
Because 35 and because 36, and because he came from the cost 30. But you
35.
see,
now are we going to have? Is there always a smooth acceptance to this rule, or does it bring any backlash?
no, I don't think so, because it is part of the policy, it is part of the rules of the military that there is no way a senior officer that has already been there and a junior officer is made a senior officer and you still have to give him a compliment at every given point in time. So at every given point in time that you have a cost to give a compliment. So what is left for you is to buy out and so that the respect will still be there. So it's normal. It has been happening both in police, most of the armed forces. It has been a routine. So I don't think there's going to be any backlash on this. It's already there, and what would they have to do? Is just to go back home and enjoy their retirement.
Go back home and enjoy their retirement. Okay, let's move down now, still on security. On the front page of Vanguard there, we saw what the IGP said. He said SARS disbandment creating vacuum in policing. In other words, they are missing SARS. They are missing SARS. Do you think that a department of the police or a section of the police that caused so much pain to people provoked even imbeciles to go to the street to say, no, we no go agree, this cannot continue? This statement coming from IGP, do you think Nigerians were wrong to say end SARS? Because what he's telling us is that there is a vacuum, meaning that they were relevant.
Well, looking at the statement, I think the name was what was removed. The name SARS.
If the name was what was removed, let's assume the new SWAT are doing what SARS was doing. He won't be complaining.
Well, that is what I'm trying to say, that the name SARS, and because I remember when that incident happened, they now give them a new name to SWAT. I think it's still the same people that are still working in that department, but he must have a reason for saying that has created a vacuum. Maybe the activities of the SARS men then, was the swagger at which the SARS men were working there. Maybe that is what it makes them to feel is saying that their activities has created a vacuum in Nigerian police. But I still believe that he still have to come up very well to tell us details how the SARS operations has created a vacuum in the Nigerian police.
Okay, because in my opinion, I remember when one of the IGPs, the former one, not this one, was accused of instructing the police officers to protect themselves. That was towards the NSAS protest just ended, and everybody were trying to sneak out from wherever they were hiding, and he was giving them that instruction, saying invariably meaning, hey, if they attack you, attack them back. And we have not really got any significant statement to show that the policemen or the police system or the police force wearing proud of what their men were doing to the citizens that made the citizens to go to the street. Anytime I see this kind of statement, it shows no regret. Are you thinking in that direction, or am I being sentimental? Am I being emotional?
No, I'm not thinking in that direction. Not that they don't, they do, because they're also human beings, and there are some of them that are very good, well professional in the operation, in their delivering their duties. But the truth is that when you are inside something, you know better than people outside. For him to have made this statement, he's the head, okay, and he knows the reason for him to come out to make this statement. Even part of what he said in the dailies, he said the agitation for state police is unnecessary. Part of his statement. So, as a head, he knows more than us, and he believes that whatever he believes is good for the country, he also have to say it out so that we can, the way and manner at which the SARS issue came up makes a lot of us to say yes, because those bad rots in the Nigerian police that were giving them a bad image, bad name, all right, has made a lot of people to see the police not as our friend, but as our enemy. But I think with the coming of the new IG and some things that he has seen, or he's trying to say now, is they are trying to be some kind of reformation about the Nigerian police force, that they'll be our friend and that we can relate with freely in the society.
Don't go anywhere, still GGR. And when we come back, sequel to yesterday's celebration, we shall be looking at parenting, the society, and if these kids are really the future leaders.
They are future leaders.
If truly they are going to be, are we really preparing the ground to change the narrative? If we continue like this, are we not going to be having the same crop? Let me not say the same crop, it will be as if we're generalizing. Are we not going to be having repetitions of problems and challenges? Don't go anywhere. Nigeria Today on GGR will be back. Tony is still in the house.
Your online radio, the new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio. Good Governance Radio.
Welcome back. This is the GGR, and you can be part of this conversation by logging onto our website directly, ggr.com.ng, or going straight to our our YouTube platform, Good Governance Radio. You can even watch our past episodes right there on the same YouTube platform. Feel free to send us messages or WhatsApp conversations on 091 3023 6602 091 3023 6602. Tony, before we went on that break, I was reconnecting with yesterday's event, and like you agree with me at the beginning that this wasn't what our own celebration many years ago used to be. It was more celebrated than Christmas. We look forward to
Children's Day.
exactly October 1st. That is the Independence Day. Used to be another complimentary day to that October 1st for primaries, secondaries, and everywhere.
Even where the military and everybody come gather to
Exactly.
to mark the Independence
Exactly.
Day.
But all that has changed, and it didn't start today. I know why I try to separate issues at times, because in as much as things are hard now and we're expecting better days ahead, we must always know that this contamination started from somewhere. And we can't take away these processes out. I remember when Rotimi Chibike Amechi became the governor of Rivers State.
Right, Honorable.
Right Honorable Chibike Amechi. You see this thing, that's the problem in Africa. Title, because up till now, the former president of America is still Mr. Obama. Even this one is still Mr. Biden. So that is a but. No problem. Thank you for bringing my attention to it.
Yes.
Right Honorable Chibike Amechi, the present
Minister.
Honorable Minister. You just say Minister.
Honorable
I'm the one now helping you. Honorable Minister of Transportation, who is doing well, greatly well, in when it comes to rail related projects in Nigeria. I'm his fan. I will hide my feelings. I'm his fan. And one of the traits that endear me to him is his audacity. And if you don't understand this audacity, you will think it's pride. There's difference between audacity and pride. And another thing that endears me to him is that this is one guy that can pick the microphone and speak for hours without writing anything. Maybe because I'm in the communication industry and I appreciate that communication. It's not about him now. It's not about him. Going back to why I brought him into this discussion, he came into power and said, hey, I'm going to make the primary school system quite competitive. So he started setting up efficient, equipped, automated primary schools in every local government, not one, not two. Then when he was done, he moved into healthcare facilitations. Now we saw that growth, and all of a sudden another governor took over and said, well, I don't like what you did, even though the evidence is there. I'm going to do this on my own differently. Tony, do you think, apart from political budgeting structures and all that, realistically now, no party affiliation, nothing, do you think that the Nigerian system has done enough to create a strong foundation for children, academic-wise?
You know, a lot of issues are come up from the issue of the education system in Nigeria. If you remember, every year when they come out with the budget, the educational system has the list. It's not among the first 10 or maybe the first 3, which is supposed to be the bane for every country that wants to develop. So I believe the educational system of our kids, of our children now, has become, the morale is so very low. Because if you look at the budget the federal government and the state governors are putting into education system, it's nothing to write home about. You can see why private schools have even edged out, has even shoot up the quality of education in Nigeria now. it shows that the federal and the state government are not really taking care of the foundation, which is the primary school in Nigeria. But be as it may, I still believe that there's still a lot to do, and I think the federal government and the state government needs to put more effort in order, because for every country, if you train your leaders well, you have a better nation. And how do you do that is by giving them a quantitative education. And quantitative education means that a country is gearing towards a better nation. So for a better nation to be, the education, the children has to be well taken care of from the primary, from the foundation.
They have to be well taken care of. Some time ago, a young boy moved from a country called Argentina to another country called Spain, because the son had what we call stunted growth, which could be caused by a number of issues, genetics, malnutrition, infections, and all that. But because that young man was well taken care of under the foundation of UNICEF, he has gone ahead to win the best footballer of the year for almost, I think, 4 consecutive times now. Talking about Lionel Messi. Imagine if that care was not there, that bundle of talent would have been wasted. Now, Tony, the recent statistics show that we still have an alarming
out of school children.
But first, before then, I want to talk about the death of there's infant mortality of kids less than 5%, like 5 years, less than 5 years. And we also have what we call maternal deaths. That's of our women giving birth, but that's not, yes.
That's earth-related issue.
Exactly. Now, do you also think that in line with life protection, life is a right to the child? Do you think we have also done enough in protecting the lives of these kids? Except I know Lagos State is running free health system for
most
kids.
of the states are running it.
I know. I'm talking about the efficient ones. In Lagos State health system is very, very efficient.
But you see, let me just say one thing about when we want to talk about the phases of governance, they're all interwoven. Right from the pregnancy stage of a child, how are they being taken care of? When you go to our hospitals, when our mothers, wives our sisters go to antenatal, how are they well taken care of? Then from there, you look at after giving birth to that child, what are the rules? What are the policies that our mothers, that are working parents, what are the policies they give them? Their leave to go on maternity leave for having their own, to take care of the baby. How many months? Now you come up again. There are some companies, there are some parastatals, there are some government agencies that have creche where you can take your baby down there. You see, there are a lot of things that need to be put in place for a growing child. So when you want to talk about the foundation has to start off from the health aspect of it, of our children. And if the government has not put in all these things in place, you find out that at the end of the day, these children will not have a better care. And if you don't give them better care, how will they be able to live to appreciate what the government has done to their life?
Because talking about education now and other things, if the brain is not well developed through proper nutrition, the baby or the child will be incapacitated even from.
So when you move down there, you now move to the pre nursery life. How are they being prepared? Look at our infrastructure in the schools. Look at the dilapidated buildings we are talking about. Look at the environment where our children are going. I remember when we are growing up, we went to a school whereby there is air conditioning in the classroom. Then in Ikoyi, in Lagos, then. You look at other people that
public school.
No,
private school.
Private school. But the public school, they still have some school that the environment. Look at when Jakonde was doing Jakonde school. Look at the old schools, the missionary schools. Look at the environment.
Don't
But-
worry. That issue of the rot in the school system is going to be a whole topic. But let me bring us back to parenting, which is exactly where I want us to anchor this discussion. I've always studied the life of this present day generation, and I'm seeing a generation that has taken morality out of the way, and we expect that the government will do this, the government will do that, in support of the destiny of the way forwardness of a child. Do you think that the present parents are doing enough? At least you are a father.
Ebele, the first economy is the key. When a father or a mother doesn't have enough to take care of his children,
I saw a group of girls the other day smoking chicha. You know what is chicha? Chicha is the elder brother of Igbo
Yeah.
or cigar. They were smoking it.
when a parent will leave home as early as 5:30, 6 o'clock to go to the street to look for the daily bread, the children are left at home.
But they will hustle now, won't they?
That is why I'm saying that. So when you're taking at the parenting of these children, the environment is still so thick that the parents will have to look at which one is more important. We might allow my children dying of hunger at home, or would I want to say I want to have time for them? By the time the parents come back from work, a lot of things have happened. So the major problem that we have in this country is basically the power, the economic power. And once that is not there, you find out that a lot of things will affect the homes. So I believe what parents need to do, or that is affecting the morale of these children, is care. How many hours do we have for our children? How do we peer groups influence? How do we check it? So these are some things that the economic of the country has affected parenting in our different homes. So I believe that what the parents needs to do is also to look at the no matter how you are looking for, no matter the hardship you are passing through in this country, we should also create time for our children.
Now we
And
have a
religious too has also key into it.
religion.
Yes.
How?
You see, in our churches, when you try to preach, when you try to talk about the lives of your faith, that's the faith, both Islamic and the Christianity world, how are we training these children with the word to live? How are we also using?
We are not, those days. Don't take me there. Don't take me
No,
there because we don't have time. Those
No,
days we
because-
used to have Sunday school. Let's use Christian
Because
religion.
what are they teaching them?
We used to have Sunday school, which means teenagers were not permitted to sit with adults because the information for adults would always be different
from
for what you are feeding the kids. But now we are all together shouting, I receive it. And it's not helping matters. And if you go to the other side, even on our Islamic brothers, that's why we are saying that open grazing can no longer function, because open grazing is an invitation, or is a facilitator of underage labor. Yes, because you see all those kids. The other day I saw one small boy that is not
It is not,
anywhere.
it is not only in a grazing area, even on the street, you see these children selling pure water.
Exactly.
You see some of them hawking for their parents.
Exactly.
So all these things accumulated into a lot
Yes,
of...
and we have, just like you talked about religion and how we train these children, we have also seen where what you call amajiri is today, where people are pushed into the street in the name of a function of a section of religion to beg. These are abuses. Now, as we speak, it's been confirmed that approximately 10.1 million children are out of school in the 21st century.
Because why? The government is not putting much effort into the educational system. If the government are doing well, there is UBEP, there is SUPEP, Universal Basic Education. Most of the schools, they say free education from primary to some state governor will tell you it's a free non-tuition fee from primary to university. I tell you, our mothers that are selling petty things on the street, you see find out that there's some element of payment in our government school that they are still charging, and you said it's a free, nothing paid. There are some state governor will say from your shoe to uniform, school bags, books, but I see some levies that they will charge you. So there is a lot that the government, if you want to do complete zero free education, everybody want to put his or her own kids into that school.
Now, in order, like we always say, Nigeria is the giant of Africa. This 10.1 million children, out of school children, we're talking about the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. Is it as a result of poverty or negligence?
Both. Negligence
Is Nigeria poor?
Well, Nigeria, we are just mentioning the money. If we are not poor, we will not be going out to be borrowing money to fund our budget. If we are not poor, we will be going out to be borrowing every project in this country. We will not be going out to borrow money to service them and be paying back. So invariably, you are poor. If you go out to borrow money to fund your budget, then you are poor. So negligence in the side of the federal government because they are not putting things right. Why poverty from the parent also affects it. So it's vice versa. It's both. Negligence from the side of the government and poverty.
Okay, negligence and poverty. And I agree with you. They are so connected, talking about insecurity. I was looking at it the other day. There was a time they were using these kids as suicide bombers. If these kids are in school, they won't have access to them to strap explosive on them. So everything goes, like we said, the major cause of insecurity in Nigeria is more economical than any other thing.
Most of the time you hear child right. Go out on that street. How many child right abuses have we not mention? Many. How many governors? How many the ministers, even that are even working on this child right they were talking about? So there are many things that is lip service.
Now, talking about child right, we have seen
education is one.
We have seen pedophile cases where people were caught defiling 3 months, 10 months, 3 years, and all that. But we also see lawyers going to defend them. Was that not a contradiction?
I think every profession has, he said, rules.
He is not guilty until
it's
proven.
Because accusation can still come up. Somebody can say he did this to me. Where you need to, prove evidence to say yes, it's right. But that is not the issue. The issue is the right of a child. How protected? How are they well protected in our nation? It's not to say we are celebrating Children's Day. Every year we must see a new different thing in the life of our children. We must see a new policy that is effective in the lives of our children. We must see some government policies in every year that say, by next year, Children's Day, May 27, the children must say, last year, these are the policies. This school feeding they are talking about now, where the president is saying that they want to do this. What other things, what other measures are they in place for these children to be proud and say, by next year again, we are going to listen to the federal government, another government policy that will enhance their living, their education, and they'll make them a proud.
Well, I think the children in Borno, they are proud of their governor because I've seen structured by Governor.
There's a difference between structure. This now comes into the teaching line now. There's a difference between building the structure and people going to that building, inside that structure to learn. Something motivate them to go there to learn.
But we were not giving food that time, and we still still learning.
No, that is I said, because then the poverty rate then is not as much as it is now. Now you can, the way and manner at which you can talk about the standard of living then, you can't compare it now. So a lot has come up that that you just have to align with some certain things. So the government need not to talk about only feeding. They know, because they know that an hungry man is an angry man. So that's why they say go and feed them. It's not only food that makes children will go to school because of food. No. What about other things? The teaching, the teachers. What about books?
Okay.
So it's not only that we are feeding them 1 meal per day, so that will bring them to school. No. What about other things that makes them to be happy? The environment, the teaching equipment. I remember when we were in school, then we have textbooks that has been brought to school by government. When you finish using it, you drop the textbook. You don't go with the textbooks. They were giving us textbooks, maths, English. You put inside locker. The class captain, when we call in the morning, will bring it out, share it for everybody. Immediately you finish working, then you return it back. So that then people, there are books. You see, apart from feeding, books. That is where the children needs to be well equipped.
Okay.
Some teachers are now going to tablets that they're using to teach.
Yes, because
ICT.
Yes, because ICT and technology, and
So-
even though there's a very great disadvantage, because Nigeria has the most porous access to the internet, kids are beginning to look at what they're not supposed to look at. They're beginning to watch what they're not supposed to watch, meeting strange people, joining cults on the internet, sending nude pictures, committing suicide because what they did some time ago sprang up and came straight to their face. I remember the other day where one irresponsible, yes, I'm responsible for this statement, one irresponsible Nigerian musician posted something that is not worth saying on air, and the kids were following him. That's where we are, children, parents, in as much as the government has the moral power to shoot the way, remember, those kids are your direct investment. Do everything and protect them to the best of your ability and capacity. This is where we will end it right now on Nigeria Today. When we return, some other time, we shall be talking about
Speak out.
the progression, just like what the points Tony brought out, the hope after school, what next. We shall be doing a detailed profiling on the the cause of unemployment, what the government should be doing, and what we should be doing as a people. We don't just come here to talk. There must be a solution if we want to experience good governance. This is still Ebere Chidera on the wheel, and with me has been my brother
Tony Ayodele.
Tony Ayodele, and for the professional transition and transmission and mission. I think that thing caused problems some time ago where they said that somebody was saying transmission. Make I not talk. I want to see my great-grandchildren. It has been Oluwatobiloba. Did I get it right today?
Oluwatobiloba.
Oluwatobiloba. What's the meaning, sir? Okay, the mic is not with him. He would have told. You should be able to tell me.
You will need to tell us.
You will need to tell us. Is it not your language?
This Oluwatobiloba, that God is mighty. God is great.
God is mighty.
God is great.
Okay, he has been at the helm of technical affairs. Until we come your way again, remember, conscience is the mirror where only you, Baba God, they see. You can't run away from it. Have a great day.
Good Governance Radio.